Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone Talks. Hope you're all doing well tonight. Not this evening. I'm asked, LOL, what are you on tonight? No, this is what's happening actually, right? Everybody will get a chance to come on for a few minutes, all right? So for the next, we'll see how long it goes for, but the cut-off point is an hour. So this is the whole point. We all have seen now the photographs, the leaked photographs. There's a lot more footage and photographs that have been put out there. I will try get me hands on them, and of course I will put the link to the link descriptions to the relevant video of the person that threw the video up. If I can get those new filming images and video, I will throw them up on the channel as I have been doing. But obviously some big information has come out due to leaks, and it looks like look, obviously we've been speaking a lot on this channel about RTD's return. Obviously before RTD himself had actually come out and made it public that Doctor Who should be a Marvel style universe thing. We were speaking about it on this channel, and it looks like this story that he's doing for the 60th, obviously for anybody that doesn't know, Beep the Meep was part of a 70s comic, and then it was later turned into audio or something like that. I'm not too big on the details, but I do know that this is from a Doctor Who Marvel comic. So it looks like, because Marvel Sony, it looks like that he's decided for the 60th that he's going to do something of that ilk. Now, I've seen other footage of explosions, drones, unit firing at drones and stuff. I'm just going to tell you now, right, without actually seeing anything on screen right now, this sounds absolutely like it's going to be huge, right? There's going to be plenty of explosions, it's going to be big. It looks like this thing, they're not holding back on this, and it looks huge, right? Now, the creature that we threw up, the one that looks like the ant kind of thing that people were speculating was the other, but we know now that's not the case. But there's a photograph of its eyes, and it's turned red, right? It turned red, and it looks absolutely amazing. I have to be honest with you, I've been blown away by what I've been seeing on Twitter and on social media in general and on YouTube. This story, whatever it is or how he's doing it, is going to be absolutely huge, no doubt. And I told you on this channel that he was going to do something that was going to blow you away for the 60th, and then we were going to get something completely different for Series 14. And I honestly do believe that that's exactly what's going to happen. So again, the people that were giving me source information have turned out to be right, that this is going to be huge. But I have to be honest, it's you know what, I was just thinking about it, because I was thinking, will some people actually like this? And I have seen there's a few rumblings, and of course there's always going to be. I mean, when we saw the Addy posts, right, some of us loved them, thought they were cute, but there was a lot of fans out there that didn't like them, you know. So this is the same thing with Beep the Meep. It's gonna be interesting to see how fans react. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, so basically, this thing might be cute and it might look cute, but this thing is like an evil piece of crap. I was reading all about it. As you know, I don't read the comics, so I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend that I know what this character is. But I suppose until the 60th comes along, I've got plenty of time to find out who this character actually is. Because but this is, I was thinking to myself, this is actually typical RTD. You know, it's like, what can I do for the 60th? Well, let's give something that some fans will know about, but not all fans. If obviously you don't read the comics or buy the audios, you wouldn't have a clue who. But this is RTD all over. He will find those obscure villains and just pull them out of the hat, like pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Ha! Do you get it? Anyway, so yeah. So what we'll do is for the next, we'll see how long it goes. So if anybody wants to come on and give their opinion on it, you're more than welcome to do so. Now, I'll be only bringing people because what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a few minutes until we get a few people backstage in the studio, right? And I'll bring us on for a couple of minutes each. Obviously, I'm not bringing these all on together. We'll bring on like we used to do with the phone-ins. So that's what we're doing here. Just bring people on quickly, give you their opinion, and then we move on to the next person. That way, then everybody gets a chance to have their say if they want to. Now, we've got a couple of members in the chat, so just bear with me there, guys, while I read out the members in the chat. And remember, if you haven't become a member, our latest stream with Daniel is up on the members part of the channel. For anybody that didn't join us, it was actually a great stream. I don't know how the members thought about it. Maybe you can ask the members what they thought about the stream. But myself and Daniel had a very nice conversation. And believe it or not, I didn't actually say much because Daniel was such a good guest. And we were talking about, well, Daniel wanted to talk about characters that RTD introduced during these era. And some of the members got involved there as well. So if you haven't become a member, you want to check out all of those member streams that we have up right now, you know what to do. Hit that join button. But we got a couple of members in the chat right now. We've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch who says hi. We've got Garbage who says evening all. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, meep. Garbage says he's only here for 10 minutes. Sorry, that's no problem. Cinnamon Toast Crunch again with meep, and then another one, a meep. Seems to be going down very well. Cinnamon Toast Crunch 10. Driving a taxi, being a cabbie is fun. Cinnamon says again, I think it's amazing if he decides to incorporate villains from the extended media. Yeah, look, while I have no problem with that, right? Here's the thing then. It's going to this could be a very clever thing by RTD as well. Because if he starts doing this during his series 14 as well, right? Starts introducing obscure villains. This is probably going to be a way of, you know, bringing in extra revenue because you'll be able to make then, you know, all the little characters and the toys and stuff like that. But another thing as well, and just a word of caution, obviously, you know, there's a lot of people out there, including Big Finish themselves, they always ask this question if Big Finish is canon. The problem that I'll have with this is that what if he tries then to make other Big Finish stories say canon, you know, and what if they're not stories that we particularly are very keen about because they change the origins of the Doctor and the Time Lords. See, while this is a good thing, I would err a bit of caution. Just right now, obviously, I don't know what he's going to do for Series 14. This could be a one-off thing, but we'll have to wait and see. But if he does do this, then yes, I'm all for it. If he does stories that fans or extends from the audios that fans actually love, and start creating story. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. Unknown says Big Finish is canon. See, I don't see Big Finish as canon, and this is where fandom differs, because some will say Big Finish is canon and the comic strips and all of that other stuff, the extended universe, as they say. And then other fans will say, well, if it's not part of the show, then it's not canon. And that's where I say, if I don't see it on screen, well, then it's not canon as far as I'm concerned. But if people think that Big Finish is canon, well, then that's, I'm not going to argue on that. I just personally don't think it's Big Finish. I don't think it is canon. Because if it is canon, then all the stuff that they've done for Big Finish in relation to the Fugitive Doctor and changed the histories of certain doctors, well, then that's all canon then. So I don't know. Please don't let the 60th become the David Tennant show. There are other doctors, Yeah, but look, if the 60th is only about him, I have no problem with that. The reason why I have no problem with that, Lee, is the fact that if you see what he's introducing in, I think look, we'd all love to see the other doctors. You never know. This could be David Tennant's story, right? He could be doing separate doctor stories, or maybe Tennant is the only doctor that has come back. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, we've got about 45 minutes left. So if you want to come on and talk about the latest rumours, obviously we've seen the photographs. If anybody wants to talk about Meep, let me know. Let me know in the chat right now, and I'll start sending emails to everybody. It's safer that way, so you have to let me know in the chat if you want to come on, because I'm not putting the link in the chat, because we know what happens when I do that. So if you want to come on and give your opinion on it for a couple of minutes, I'll be bringing a few people on, as many as we can. Remember, this doesn't work unless you guys come on, right? So, we haven't done this in a while. So, if you've got something to say, come on. Don't be afraid to come on. Even if you've never come on before, you don't have to be on camera. Come on. Seriously. It'd be nice to hear from some of you that are in the chat all the time that never come on, because you do have plenty to say anyway. So, right, Marty, I've sent it to your email there now. So Marty's the first one there now. Let's see if there's any more. So Marty will come on. If anybody else wants to come on, let me know now. As I said, I'm going to wait until we get a few in the studio. We'll see if we get a few in the studio first. If not, this is going to be a short-lived stream, folks. So, this channel, we try to interact with you guys. You know what I mean? We haven't done it for a while, so come on, give your opinion, give your view. What do you think? I just think this 60 is going to be something spectacular, as I said. And I honestly can't wait to see a trailer. Because even from what you're seeing from fan footage now, actually, there is a couple of people on, say, the other side of the fandom that are moaning. They're moaning, right? Because there's a certain group out there that'll go to filming locations, right? And apparently security now is getting sick and tired of people filming. So they've been a bit more strict. But the way these people are talking, you think their human rights have been violated. Now listen, while I don't mind fans being there and taking their video and stuff like that, right? If they're asked not to do it, then they shouldn't actually do it. You know what I mean? Certain amount of stuff will be allowed by security, trust me, because it happens with everything. They want to get information out there. But there's certain spoilers and certain stuff that they'll do that they don't want you to film. Right? Now, the attitude of these people is very self-entitled, I've seen. Right? And they're saying that security's being heavy-handed. Well, look, if you're told not to film anymore, you just don't film anymore. It's as simple as that. And if you have a problem with it, then you shouldn't be going and harassing the security officers. Right? They've got a job to do. Right? And apparently security has been upped because they don't want too much getting out. There's always, you're always going to get leaks. You're always going to get some photographs of filming. That's just a natural thing that happens, right? But they don't want too much getting out. So if you're told not to film, just don't film. Stop bitching and moaning about it. You're even lucky to be there to get what you've captured in the first place. You know, there seems to be self-entitlement. And at the same time as well, we don't want to see every single thing either. Right? Because we don't want the 60th spoiled, do we? Right? So a limited amount of information is always okay. But you go overboard like these people are trying to do, then I agree with security. You know? Like if I was there and security said, listen, we're filming an important scene up. We don't really want anybody to see it. Can you stop filming? Okay. Yes, no problem. Thank you. Right? Because they've allowed us there in the first place. So cop on and stop moaning about it. Right? It's like as if they're self-entitled that they deserve to know what's going on. You get what you're given and that's it. So if anybody else wants to come on, because right now, the only person that's in the studio is Marty, which means then Marty is the only one that comes on. And then it's, as I said, it's going to be a short-lived stream, folks. So if you want to come on, there's a few people have just popped in the chat. If you want to come on and give your opinion on Meep, he might look furry, but he's a lunatic. And I was reading a bit about his history. So he went to prison and all he did, and he broke out of prison. This Beep fella doesn't seem to be the nicest person in the world. And I'm starting to think that this might actually all revolve around Christmas time or maybe Easter. You know, because it looks like, you know, because he could change, apparently he could shape shift or something or whatever it is. And he looks like a bunny in some pictures, or looks like a bunny, but it's not really a bunny, but you know, a space bunny. But, so, yeah. Cinnamon says he doesn't mind popping on, but that's fine. Ed, do us a favor, because I forget. Oh, no, I know what your Twitter, I know what your email is. I remember, it's not the same as your name. I keep getting, just bear with me. I'll send you the email now. Grant. Right, so we've got 2 people coming on now. So if anybody else wants to come on, have your say on what we're talking about. Look, I'm seriously, I'm not going to lie. I'm seriously excited because for a couple of reasons. This is a little bit of an unknown for me because obviously, as you know, I don't read comics, right? And I'm not a big fan of the audios either. I have to just be honest about it. That's just the way it is. But I'm looking forward to this because this is typical. This is typical RTD. This is typical RTD. I don't think anybody, right? If any fans were out there speculating about villains, right? I don't think anybody would have thought of this character. Seriously, nobody. So I don't know. Did you know what? This adds a little bit more excitement to it, to me. So RG Ross obviously doesn't look like he's a fan of Meep, the Meep. It's comic humor for children. Yeah, but hold on. So, but the Addy posts were there, but that story was quite adult. You know, I'm not worried about. See, I'm not worried about the. See, people look at Doctor Who's always been silly as well. I mean, people just. I don't look. I know there are people not looking forward to RTD era, right? That's just the way it is, right? But I mean, we've had during the RTD era, we've had other things that have been aimed at kids, right? One of my favorite episodes is actually Love and Monsters, and that's completely bonkers and silly. I'm not worried about whether it's with this character is aimed at children, because you know the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise is aimed at, well, it's aimed at a family audience, let's just say, right? But still, children and adults watch alike. It's a great franchise. Just because a character happens to be aimed at kids or is or has a bit of humor like that doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad character or it's going to be bad within the story. But of course, exactly, Unknown makes an absolutely spot on point. You've got to remember, though, that's the adaptation of the comic book version, right? We don't know what he's going to do for the show, right? And I can guarantee it won't be exactly the same way that it is in the comics, because some of these things, and people have to realize this as well, sometimes some comic book characters don't translate well on the big screen. Now, for me, there's a perfect example of that. But part of an ensemble cast, the character doesn't do too bad. But they've tried to do movies with that character, separate movies with that character, and to me, they just haven't worked. And that's the Hulk. Right, so certain characters just don't translate well. So you might have to tweak the character. But again, as I said, I have no issue with this character. I'm intrigued of anything else, I have to be honest. It's made me a little bit more excited after seeing the images. I've seen a lot of the video footage that has been thrown up. And I have to say, it looks pretty exciting to me. It looks pretty exciting. Red number 1 says hi, and then says, just to let you know, don't consider anything beyond Twice Upon a Time canon. Listen, again, that's okay. That's okay. And I probably would have been in that same boat after this current era. But RTD was announced, and I've always liked him as a showrunner. And I've always said, if he ever came back, I would give him a go. Then I got the information that he was coming back before everybody else knew. We reported it on the channel. Everybody thought I was mad and crazy. Turned out to be true. And again, people have a problem with the castings right now and certain things that he's done. But for me, my position hasn't changed. I said I was going to give him a go, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And as far as I'm concerned, my only issue was that I didn't want another woman doctor. he's rectified that and he's cast a male doctor. So again, as I said, I will give him a go because as I said, I would give him a season anyway. Even if he did cast a woman, I'd give him a season because it's RTD. Because RTD brought the show back, you know, and if it wasn't for RTD, you wouldn't consider anything beyond Twice Upon a Time as canon. So RTD obviously did something for you, you know, as a fan, and gave you Doctor Who that you could watch up until Twice Upon a Time. So I'm giving him a chance because he deserves it. And he's proven himself before. So, and he's one of the best writers out there. Anyway, I've kind of dragged it for as long as I can. We've only got 2 people coming on, so what I'll do is I'll just bring them on together, and we've got 35 odd minutes left, and we'll just see what the boat lads have to say. So without further ado, let's just bring them straight on. So we've got Marty from the Zero Room, which is a new podcast. You can check out his podcast with Therese that he did. And he'll be doing other podcasts with different parts of the fandom, because obviously there's different parts of the fandom now. So he's trying to reach out to all sides. So if there's anybody interested on being on the Zero Room, get in touch with Marty on MCTV on Twitter, and obviously he'll give you the rest of the links after we finish here. But our next person that we have coming on also is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Welcome, lads. How are you all both doing? First of all,
not too bad. Thank you.
Say that again. Sorry.
No, not too bad. What about yourself?
Yeah, good. I'm good. Cinnamon, how are you?
Yeah, same. Thank you.
Good. Well, lads. So obviously, like we've had, look, this is RTD all over again, but obviously it's, look, it looks like, for me, it looks like history is repeating itself here, which is not a bad thing. But Marty, I just want to ask you about the latest images, the latest videos. We've all seen them, especially if you're on Twitter, you would have seen a lot more. But what you've seen so far, what is your reaction to Beep, the Meep, actually, for starters? I'll ask you that first because I say that's a good starting off point, because we've seen the photographs and it does look like it is Beep. I mean, like, we've either all got it so terribly wrong in the fandom, or this is happening. And if it is, what is your reaction?
It's very left field, something very different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I seen the photo. I seen the image of, or the video of the actor. Like, it looked as if they were crouching down onto their knees onto like the side of the street with the costume on.
Yeah.
Very interesting. A lot of people have jumped straight away to Meep the Beep. I don't know. People are saying it's Beep the Meep or Meep the Beep. I don't know.
It's Beep. It's Beep the Meep. It's Beep from Meep or something like that.
Meep,
yeah.
Meep. But anyway, interesting to see, because I think the comic that Beep's in, there's actually another villain in that comic book that looks very similar to the one that's been on set with the red eyes.
Yeah, it is. They're right. So I actually put a video up and I gave you a bit of information on it. So what I can remember of it is that these warriors were created to basically destroy this furry little thing called Beep, the Meep's people. He escaped from his planet, is the story. He was then recaptured, I think, in the 90s or something, and sent to prison. But he has a whole story. I was reading it on his wiki. Actually, go into the Wikipedia page and you'll read everything about him. He's a quite sinister character. This character like might look cute and yoke, but basically he'd rip your face off.
Yeah, I've seen the photos of him. I've seen parts of the comic. I actually know a guy who has the comic book, and I asked him.
Now, the alien that you're talking about, the one that we've seen, they're warriors, and they're kind of they're like the Shadow Proclamation, but they're not the Shadow Proclamation. So they're a space police thing, but they've been, their main job is basically to take out beat the Meeps people, basically.
Yeah.
So that's what they've been. But yeah, this is what I'm saying. I've read the wiki and all now, so I kind of think I have a handle on it. But to be honest with you, I do agree with you. It is left field, but at the same time, this is typical RTD. And what I was reading, if he can actually execute this properly, we're in for some surprises here. This is going to be absolutely spectacular, in my opinion, if he gets it right. I mean, we've seen the drones, we've seen the explosions. I mean, this is going to be huge, no matter what.
I correct me if I'm wrong, but I have never seen drones being used for Doctor Who filming. Like, this is crazy.
No,
I mean, absolutely crazy.
No, this is a totally new thing. Listen, they're using cranes and all. Did you see the photograph of the unit truck that they're using cranes and all to put the explosions? How, my God, I'm telling you, man, there's been no expense being spared here for this 60th anyway. I'm going to just say that.
With Rachel Talalay directing, the cinematographers that worked on His Dark Materials and that crew behind it, mixed with the old team. I mean, once you see that on screen in 18 months' time, it's going to look like something out of a film. It's going to look like something out of a film.
I don't think. Listen, I'm going to make a prediction here. I don't think we have to wait long for this.
Well,
I actually think we'll get the centenary. And I'm gonna say it now. I never hedge me bets or place me cards down, as you know, but I'm going to this time. I reckon this whole thing's gonna kick off Christmas Day. I think RTD is gonna start off with a Christmas special, because I'll tell you why. There's logic behind it, right? For years, obviously since Chibs has taken over, right? The people tend to forget that the only reason why we got Twice Upon a Time was because Chris Chibnall had refused to start his era off with a Christmas special. So so Stephen Moffat was asked to do a Christmas special. Now, Peter Capaldi had already finished. So Moffat had to ring Capaldi and say, listen, they actually need us to do another special. Would you be on for it? And that's how we got Twice Upon a Time, right? Because of Moffat. I honestly believe, because of the comments that Matt Smith has made during this era and other people have made about missing a Christmas special, I think that's how I think he'll kick it off on Christmas Day.
Well,
I honestly believe he will, because even the theme of the episode, if you look at it, it looks very Christmassy. I'm telling you, I think it's a Christmas special, and I think this kicks off Christmas Day, and then throughout the year, then we're gonna get, because people are wondering, is Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi coming back? Well, this is the way he could do it. Kick it off with David Tennant first. To bring back the. I don't know now. That's what I'm speculating. But Marty, you obviously have something different. Go on.
I'm saying the I'm saying the
No, come on. Is it in the private chat? Did you write it in? No.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you it's in the private chat.
Right.
This is what I'm going to tell you right now. This does not go any further.
Right. Well, while I read that, we'll give Cinnamon a chance to get an opinion in here, and then we'll go back to you, Marty. Cinnamon. Obviously, everything that we've seen. I'll ask you the same thing. What is your reaction to what we've seen so far?
Well, I'm certainly not against it. I'm happy with it. I mean, if that's the decision he wants to go in, if he wants to sort of incorporate different characters from, let's say, Big Finish, or just more obscure characters from different comics, or etc. etc. I think it's good because it sort of gives it something for everyone. Because I'm one of those people. I do personally consider Big Finish to be canon, or at least some of it. That's the good thing with
Yeah.
Big Finish. You can sort of pick and choose. If you don't like a certain story, you can say, okay,
Yeah,
that's
what
not for
I'm
me.
told, but this is the thing I have, and I'll let you continue, but this is the problem I would have, right? So you're saying right now fans can actually pick and choose what they believe is canon. That's fair enough, right? But if RTD was to go down this route for Series 14, right? We don't know if he is. I'm just speculating here right now, this is my only one worry. Then he starts to do some of these things. Then he makes them canon. Then it's not a fan choice anymore. Do you get me? It's kind of then, well, it's set in stone sort of thing.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
get
there
what you're
should be
saying,
the
yeah.
freedom. I think personally, there's still, as you said, the freedom of choice for fans to pick and choose when it comes to the audios. But go ahead anyway.
I mean, you're absolutely right. To be fair, I mean that's certainly a thing. If Big Finish have written a story about a certain character, then he was to bring it in, and then perhaps contradict that. I mean, would you have people outraged over Big Finish not being canon, or I think people would be more upset about the TV show not being canon, if that makes sense. But
I
that's
know,
certainly a
yeah.
possibility. Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. But I just think it's a bit of a win-win for everybody because it allows maybe fans of those certain characters. Because I listen to Big Finish quite frequently, and there's so many great villains on there that have never appeared in the show. And if they were to somehow make an appearance, I would love that. But it is also be good for people who don't consider the extended universe canon, and people who are just mainly stick to the TV show, which is absolutely fine.
Do you know
It
what? You
also
make
lets
a
them
very
experience. It lets them enjoy the character as well. And it also
Yeah,
brings
you
sort of
make a
new
valid
people along.
point, you do, because this is very clever, actually, if you think about it, because obviously, as you said, there'll be a lot of fans of Big Finish. And if they then start to see that some of the audios and the characters and villains from those audios start getting introduced to the show, they may consider then actually watching the show. Because remember, there'll be a lot of people that during the barren years, obviously when the show wasn't on air, obviously Big Finish was a relief for those fans. But a lot of those fans that have stuck with the audios haven't actually transitioned into the main show. So this is actually a clever move again by RTD. How do we bring more fans on board? How do we entice new people to watch the show? And this is a clever ploy. And as you said, Cinnamon, it's not just pleasing them, but for people like me, this is intriguing. It is actually intriguing. I'm actually, when I read the wiki of the the Beep Meep Beep the Meep and the Warriors. I can't say they're not the Wrath Warriors. It's that way, but there's an extra R. But when I was reading about them as well, it was all very fascinating, and I was like, Jesus, actually, that sounds good. I would actually like to see something on this. But it is typical. This is typical RTD. I mean, think about it. You had a space pig in one of these episodes, right? He had gas people. Well, I know that was gases, Gatus, I should say, but the Unquiet Dead. He had those gas people. Well, what were they
Yeah,
called?
because Doctor's always
The
been like
Gelf.
that. It's
Like
always
he's
had a lot of obscure
and
characters
then
like that.
the adipose and stuff like that. But this is probably an interesting one. I'm just intrigued, and it makes me. I say roll on the trailer, roll on the second trailer.
It's gonna be. See, I sort of. What was I going to say? How do I word this? How do I say this without saying it? Your prediction about Christmas. I've heard that you are bagging the money with that. The scenes that you've seen filmed in Camden with Donna, there's one of the very last scenes they shot that day. Was Donna and Ten going into the TARDIS, and the TARDIS taking off. And the guy I've been speaking to said that's the last shot of the first episode. And supposedly at the end of the episode, you're going to get the Series 4 theme tune banging and a Coming Soon trailer. And it's going to be the Coming Soon trailer with like all these. There's 4 episodes. The first one's at Christmas, and then there's 3 throughout the year.
But that would make sense. Yeah, again, this is look. This is why I love RTD, right? You can kind of, on one hand, he is predictable, but on the other hand, he can be very unpredictable, and he's already shown that he's a paradox, right? But this is clever because he knows. Look, without a shadow of a doubt, no matter what people say, this current era has damaged the reputation of Doctor Who. It's also gotten the lowest ratings, right? We've seen that now, right? There's no denying it. Nobody can spin it anymore.
Chip himself has even admitted it as well.
Now, yeah, he did. So this is the thing, right? So this is the thing. If he's doing this, what a way to try win back the audience. If you spread this out, as I said, right, spread out. So Christmas, the first one, then I'll predict the next one. The next one probably be Easter, right?
Yeah,
or even before Easter. Then he'll drop one on Easter, right? So if we're getting 4 or 5 episodes, right? So he'll drop on Christmas. We'll probably get one then maybe in the New Year. Then one Easter, right? Then maybe one before the actual anniversary itself, and then the anniversary. We don't know how many episodes exactly. If it's 4, well then it's Christmas, one before Easter, right? Then Easter, and then November, the anniversary.
Well, that's some of the dates that have been suggested to me. This isn't official. This is just someone that came up with an idea for these dates. Was Christmas this year, Easter Saturday. I think it's the May bank holiday or June bank holiday. And then the last one would be in November. It would be like an extended. Supposedly, the final special is a feature-length extended. I don't know how long it's going to be, but it is an extended episode.
By the way, so the unknown, I've just answered it in the chat, but I'll say it on the stream for everybody. The 60th does start with David Tennant. It's all the 60th.
Yeah.
It's all the 60th.
Yeah.
So every single episode is part of a jigsaw puzzle, let's just say. And they're putting it all together until we get to the last episode. Now, does that mean that all doctors are going to appear in the last episode? Doesn't necessarily mean that, but it could happen that way. And the way Marty is laughing, I've probably got a spot on anyway, but that's what's probably going to happen. It's probably going to be like what Stephen Moffat did at the end of his, where he had all the doctors lining up and Matt Smith was front and center. He'll probably do the same thing, and Shooty's doctor will be front and center, and that'll be it. Bang. All the doctors and Shooty, bang. Done.
I think that it could also, I mean, that's a very good point there. But I think in Big Finish, there's a story called, I think it was the very first one they did. Oh, sorry, just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marty.
No, exciting
someone
times.
Wants to come into the room.
Exciting times. I Beat the Meep. I sort of went texting about Beat the Meep, and one person's telling me, yeah, it's Beat the Meep. Another guy, this other guy is very cryptic with the way he speaks, and I sent him the message saying, "Is Beep the Meep on set? Are they bringing him in?" And I got a one-word response to that message, and it was a very interesting word: decoy.
Decoy.
Decoy. I asked what they meant by that, and I haven't got a response yet. But this is just me and my own prediction.
Well, it could be the master in disguise.
Could be the master in disguise. I've heard.
What do you reckon it is? If it is a decoy, if Beep the Meep is a decoy, right, what do you think actually is going on then? Who do you think the villain actually is then?
Well, I told you a few weeks ago who I heard the villain was in your member stream.
Actually, you said that. Yeah, we did it on a member stream. Do you want to actually say? Can you still not say that now, or can you say? Go on, tell people who you actually think is the villain for the 60th.
I was told the villain of the 60th is the Celestial Toymaker.
But what if Beep the Meep is working with the Celestial Toymaker, though?
Well, it could be, or it could be the case where perhaps the Celestial Toymaker has somehow like summoned Meep the Meep or something like that, or managed to
capture them and is probably working with them. Because think about a Celestial Toymaker is a toy maker. Beep the Meep, whatever he can do, can obviously transform because we've seen different photographs or whatever. So maybe he's somehow captured, and maybe Beep actually needs help this time by the Bleeding Doctor, and at the same time, then obviously that warrior race find them
because I think
they're hunting.
One of the scenes they filmed the other night was the unit soldiers moving into the street, and I think they was it Tennant and Tate and Rose putting Beep the Meep or whatever it is in the back of Sean's taxi, and the taxi speeding off down the road. And the guns were firing at it. So unless unit are after Beep the Meep, I think from the way it's looking so far that they're trying to protect Beep the Meep from something.
And on top of that, the Doctor could be fighting unit in this one if what you've said is true. If they're shooting at the van, then obviously the Doctor, as you said, it reminds me of actually season 3 with Captain Jack when they land after the Utopia episode, after they land back on Earth, you remember? And the Doctor then has to, Martha's family is taken then, and then like he has to infiltrate. He might have to do the same here. Look, again, I'm very excited. I think this is whatever it is, whether it is decoy and there is something else going on. All I'll just say is from all the footage that I've seen and all the photographs that I've seen so far, I don't think we have anything to moan about right now. Because to me, it looks absolutely, it's going to be huge. By the way, the special effects that they've used, the practical effects that they're using, Marty, though, this does look like it's going to be, there seems to be no limit to what they can do here right now. I mean, they're using drones.
They're using drones. Rachel,
do you think that could be? Do you think that could be for like camera shots or something?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Some people were speculating though that unit soldiers were trying to shoot down these drones. So the Celestial Toymaker may have sent these drones out. He could have drones.
No, the drones have cameras on them. I seen photos of the filming when they were set.
Yeah, but if he sent the drones out and has but the Celestial, because drones already have cameras on them. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot. So they've actually fitted extra cameras on them. So so they're drone filming Doctor Who.
Yeah.
When has that ever happened?
That's incredible. Imagine like watching it and then you see it from like the point of view from like the drone.
This has got
the quality, the actual picture quality of the show will be like at the minute the picture quality of the show is obviously high definition, but once Bad Wolf take over, this is the standard for all their shows. The Doctor Who will be broadcast outputted on BBC One as 4K high definition. High definition.
I love 4K.
It'll be the first. Tennant will be the first Doctor to be broadcast out on 4K ultra high definition, so it will look like something out of a film when you see it.
Oh man,
Stuff like that is what gets me excited.
I know,
And
this
I
is
would
what
love
I
to
mean.
see.
There's plenty to be excited about. People, look, as I said, I know right now there's a lot of fans disillusioned, but no matter what's being put out there, like this has even made me more excited. But it's sad to see that no matter what's being put out there, some fans are just not going to be excited, and that's sad because I think there is a lot to be excited about right now. You know, I don't see any negative things right now. I just don't get it. But that's just me right now.
There's one thing. There's one thing the fandom has not picked up. No side of the fandom has picked this up at all. I'm surprised actually because it was the first thing I spotted when I seen the photos last night. So when Tennant was filming in London, he had the haircut. He had his haircut, but he didn't have the sideburns. He just had his haircut like it was, but he didn't have the sideburns. In the filming pictures last night, or the night before, he's got the actual sideburns back. So clearly time has passed.
And not only that, he's wearing different jackets as well, which was another spot by someone. I think it was Chuck. He says, do you know something about the photographs as well? He's wearing two different jackets. He's got the brown jacket in one, and he's got the jacket that we all seen when the Force leak, the navy one. So again, I kind of said this on the channel. What if there's two versions of this Doctor, David Tennant's Doctor? Maybe it is the Meta Crisis Doctor and him. But then I was kind of thinking that doesn't make sense unless this is set at a certain time period, because
someone actually suggested the theory to me that once Whittaker turns into Tennant, that like things will start like slowly throughout the episodes changing back to how they were like 2008. So like it explains why Tennant only has the sideburns now and he has the brown coat. This person also said to me that you all see, like, I know he's in the first episode, you see he's using Jodie's exterior box, but this person suggested to me that maybe as the episodes go on, maybe the outside of the TARDIS changes back to what it looked like when Tennant was there. I don't know. That's just an idea. That was a theory. It was thrown around. I thought that would be a good idea, but you know, why play it out after? Why play it out over time? Why not just do it from the start?
I thought. See, this will be the thing though. RTD will do what Chibs hasn't been able to do, and he'll explain it. So again, that part, and you know he will explain it. He won't leave us hanging. He'll explain that if there's a reason why the TARDIS didn't change straight away and it slowly transitions, then he'll explain it. That's the good thing about him. But I mean, this is all fascinating. I mean, now, like, you know, we've seen photographs early on and fans were speculating who certain people were that were seen in the photographs. Now we've got more photographs and more footage, and now it's just completely blown all of the rumor and speculation of the last few weeks out the window. And now people are theorizing on other things. But this is this is what's great about it, I have to say. I mean, I've seen people actually do videos and streams on the current era and reminding people that there's still a centenary special. The thing about it is that, you know, this has captured fans' imaginations that, I'm just going to say it out straight, nobody gives a flying crap about no centenary special. It's all about RTD, and this is the thing. Unfortunately for Chris Chibnall, and I'm sorry I have to say this, but as soon as RTD was announced, that was it. Nobody gave a crap about what you were doing with Doctor Who. And that has panned out. And every week that goes by, less and less people are talking about the centenary special. Now we have the usual accounts complaining that all the attention is on RTD. But I
Yeah, I don't know why they're
honestly,
complaining, because I remember when I can't, was it July, wasn't it? And July 2017, and that was months before Capaldi's last episode, and they were already promoting Series 11. They're already showing the pictures of the new TARDIS team. I remember all that. So I think it's quite ironic that they're complaining when it's just a thing that's always happened, you know?
I know it's always happened, but the thing about it is that, you know, this is why I say people out there obviously have their problems right now with some of the announcements and stuff like that, but I don't think they even realize the impact that RTD has actually had. Nobody is actually talking about the Centenary Special except those dedicated stands and Tasman stands, because they're obviously waiting to see how that evolves. They don't actually care about the Centenary, they just care about that. But other than those people talking about it, everybody is just focused on what's happening with RTD. Even some of the media out there are trying to refocus the fandom and trying to remind them, oh, there is a Centenary cut. Nobody gives a shit.
I always say it
That's
was
the
like a
bottom line.
Christmas advent calendar, you know, like chalking down the days. Oh, only one more episode to go, only 2 more episodes
Well,
to
there's
go.
no hype. There's no hype for these.
No, that's the thing. Where's the trailer from Chibs anyway? I mean, if Chibs could fight back here, right? Even though we know it's probably going to be a disaster anyway, but show a bit of bleeding backbone here, right? So RTD is outshone you right now, right? You've got 1 episode to go, right? He's spoiled the length, right? Whether it was done deliberately or not, but he spoiled the length of how long it's going to be, right? And you're just basically sitting back. You're giving fans nothing. You've done a couple of interviews at the start, because obviously when RTD announced it was all focused, and you tried to refocus by doing a few interviews, and you threw Whittaker out there to do the same, and Mandip and John Bishop, and they did that. And then for a couple of days, the focus was back on those interviews, and we were all talking about, of course. So their focus was back on that, but nothing since then, right? RTD has announced a couple of more things, and you've just sat back and you've done absolutely nothing, right? You've got 1 episode to go, right? And fair enough, most of the fandom aren't bothered about it, but at least show some fucking effort, pride.
Like compete with him. Like if he drops one, like if Russell's dropping all this news, you'd think he would be like, "Oh, I'll drop this then."
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. That's what I would do. Chips could easily drop something, right? He's already got the episode; it's there. Drop a fucking trailer, and then, but at the end of the trailer, fade it out or something, and then fade it back in, and then show a returning fucking character just briefly, and then you might get some fucking hype. But no,
like, why RTD is deliberately being quiet to let Chibnall promote the Centenary, and Chibnall's doing nothing.
Yeah, I remember he said that.
That's what I mean. RTD actually said he wasn't going to throw out any more announcements for a while, because he actually said it, as you said, guys, that there's still 1 more Great Jody episode to go. So he's literally telling Chibs, this is your cue. This is your cue. Give the fans something. But what does he do? Nothing. He sits back. He's no backbone. This is why the show is in the state. He was way over his head to begin with, right? He brought in a new team. This is a man now that's blaming that inexperience for not getting his own scripts right. This is what we've had to deal with. He won't take responsibility for his own failings, right? He wants to blame everybody else, just like the fans of this era want to blame everybody else for its failure, right? He actually mirrors those fans, and they mirror him, right? He was the wrong man for the job, and it's shown. He's got 1. Listen, if I was Chibs and I was in his position and RTD's come back, I'd be sitting there and go, Jesus, he's after putting all this out. Nobody's focused. I'd get the team back together and say, right, we need to do something here to refocus the attention back on the Centenary. How do we go about it, folks? Right? But no, he just fucking sits back. And I'm waiting to see, he'll drop the trailer a week before the episode actually drops, I guarantee it.
Right? Didn't they do that with Legend of Sea Devils?
Yeah, do you know what he should be doing? and this is what I would do, because if he wants to go out with a bang, this is what I would do. I would say, right, go to fucking. You never had you had the chance to do it once, and you never haven't done it since. Go to fucking San Diego Comic Con. Go live. Go out in July and release like a 3-minute, like the episode's 90 minutes long. Release a 3-minute big blockbuster trailer for the episode.
That's it.
That's it. Go to Comic Con. It's your last hurrah. Have a big hullabaloo. Release a big trailer. Get the hype around the episode. I mean, as much as I don't like this era, I would like to see it go out with a bit of a bang.
Yeah, and not only that, but think about it, right? So people will say, but nobody cares. But think about it. All the YouTubers, if he dropped a Comic-Con trailer and was there, right? All these people that are complaining, oh, we've no interest, they'll be doing videos about them and streams about the interviews and stuff, right? So that's how he generates the hype. He actually uses the people that actually hate his era, and obviously the people that will that do love his era will be actually doing streams on it as well. But he'll be putting the attention back on his episode, firmly back on his episode, unless RTD was dropped another bomb. Then obviously then it's game over. But he should be trying something. But the fact that he hasn't, right? We should have got something, right? We should have got more than what we got after Legends of the Sea Devils. He should have gave us an extended trailer, right? We should have got an extended trailer then, right? And most of these shows, you look at Cobra Kai and you look at even the teaser trailers are about 2 minutes long, right? And then they have a main trailer. He doesn't do anything like that. We'll get this main trailer a week before the episode drops, just like he did with the Legend of the Sea Devils, and he'll try hype it up the bits. But what he doesn't realise is, because there's such a long gap, you moron, right? Fans and the general audience, which the general audience is the people that you're trying to get in to watch your show, right? They're not going to know when Doctor Who is on, because there's nothing on the main BBC channel either to say when it's coming back. No trailer, no nothing. So how are people supposed to know? Go ahead, Cinnamon, before I get into a big fucking rant here. But this man, no, but seriously, these last 5 years of Doctor Who under this man never had to happen, folks. It never had to happen, right? And we're only in the position that we're in because of him. Now, we could blame Piers Wenger and Stephen Moffat for convincing him to take the job or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, once he was given that job, he had a responsibility, right, to protect that show and to keep that show going and its legacy going for the next showrunner to take over and give it to the next showrunner in a decent state. He did not do that, right? Now, in fairness, though, Moffat didn't leave it in the best state, given the Chibs, right? So Chibs felt like he had to do something radical. And this is where all this female doctor nonsense came about. He decided, after Peter Capaldi said he couldn't wait to work with Chibs, he got rid of him. He got rid of him because he needed to do something radical. And he did do something radical. He brought in the worst actress that you could bring in. And I'm sorry, right? She was good. She was all right in Broadchurch, right? I'm not going to lie, right? There's other things that I've seen her in that she's actually all right in and that I can tolerate her in. Okay? But when it comes to Doctor Who, this was a different level altogether, right? And just like her boss, she was way over her head. Now, I'm not going to say that she didn't try her best. She probably did try her best, right? Actually, she did try her best. You could see that she was really trying in certain episodes, right? But she also did a lot of bad as well by attacking the fandom, doing that video mocking fans when she was cast, coming out with stupid statements about little girls not being fans of the show until she came along and all of this other rubbish, right? So she didn't help herself, but she did try. She just wasn't good enough, right? She was never good enough. And this is why we're in the position that we're in right now, right? We're not going to get another 5 years like we got. It's impossible for Doctor Who to get any worse, right? It's not going to get any worse. It's not. And you know what? I'm even more confident now after what I've seen over the last couple of days and the last couple of weeks. I'm confident that this show can regain some sort of respectability, because Chibs really, really did mortally wound this show, right? And he'll never be, look at, no matter what, right, people might say I've eased down a little bit on that and all of this, but I will say this one thing. I will never forgive him for what he's done, because only for RTD willing to come back, this show would have been cancelled. We've got to remember that, right? And I want you to remember that, because that's what he's done, right? He nearly cancelled this show because of what he done. Now, obviously, BBC are also responsible because they hired him, and Piers Wenger and all of that. But still, he's the man that had the right. And this man is the one that's blaming the people that he brought in. He brought in, right? Nobody told him that he had to get rid of everybody. He decided to do that, right? He decided to do that. So he's responsible. I will never forgive him, right? I won't, right? I might be able to move on and give RTD a chance, but I want to make it clear, I will never forgive that man for what he did to the Doctor's origins, right? I will never forgive him for that. And I'll never forgive him for all the other nonsense that he's done either with this fugitive Doctor and all of this face of Morbius. Now they're all doctors apparently and all of this crap. I'll never forgive him for that. So I want people to understand, right? Because people say I've softened my stance on Chibs and all of this. No, be under no illusion. I will never forgive that man. And as for Jodie Whittaker, I do wish her the best in her future career. But thank God she's gone from this show, because I couldn't tolerate another season of that woman, the way she plays the Doctor. It's an absolute disgrace, right? And people should call it out for what it was. It was a disgrace. She was given something coveted. She was given something, the golden goose of the BBC, and she didn't even have the decency to do the research until it was too late. And then she did a bad imitation of Matt Smith and David Tennant, and people and our cheerleaders thought that this was the best Doctor that we've ever had. She beats Tom Baker as well, by the way, according to these fans, right? She's the worst Doctor of all time, and I never thought I'd say that, because Colin Baker, to me, was number one. But she is by far the worst Doctor that we've ever gotten for this show. She even makes Colin Baker look Oscar-worthy compared to the way she acted. She tried her best, but her best wasn't good enough. And I just want to make that clear, because people have been saying that I've been softening up my stance, and I don't like that, because I haven't softened up my stance. The difference is I just don't really give a fuck anymore. I don't really want to be talking about it anymore, but I wanted to lay a few things out, because people are getting on my nerves lately, thinking that I have reeled it in. Make no mistake, those two people are the most hated people I have when it comes to Doctor Who, and I'll never forgive them for what they done.
There's a very interesting tweet just after appeared on my feed from a guy who's been at the filming for the past few nights, and he says, "It appears from multiple conversations I've had that this is not the 60th. Explains why it's been filmed now. I've heard later this year and early next year, so honestly, who knows? The crew are being very coy when asked, but it definitely seems like they are not filming the 60th.
Mm.
So hold on. So this could be individual stories, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the 60th, then maybe they all appear, but still, okay, it might not be technically the 60th, but it kind of kicks off the 60th.
Yeah. Well,
if you know what I mean.
That's the thing that people seem to fail to understand, was that press statement when it came out, when they announced Tennant and Tate were coming back. They said David Tennant and Catherine Tate are filming scenes to coincide with Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. They
Yeah,
did not say that Tennant and Tate are filming the 60th anniversary episode.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because I always thought it was a little strange. Because I mean, obviously, I know the episode will probably be a lot longer with it being obviously a special episode. But I thought if they're filming for it now, it's quite a long way away yet to go to wait for it. Do you know what I mean? So you would think
That's why I
you'd
think we're
film
getting
it a
an
bit closer.
episode Christmas. That's why I think we're
Yeah.
getting an episode Christmas Cinnamon, because if you think about it, you're right. It is miles away from the 60th to be filming right now. So this has to be, I'm telling you, I've got to, I never make a bet. I never make a bet. But I will actually make a bet that this whole thing, whatever it is, whether it's the 60th or not the 60th or whatever, right, is all going to kick off Christmas Day. I just have a look. It just seems to me that the stars are aligning here. I just feel that, the Christmas invasion. Remember, the Christmas invasion was RTD's first Christmas special, right? And it's considered a lot of fans' favorite still to this day. Now, my personal favorite of his is obviously Voyage of the Damned, but the Christmas invasion is up there, But that Christmas special laid the foundations for future Christmas specials. If that hadn't worked, just like Rose hadn't worked, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today. You know what I mean? So I think again, he knows what fans have wanted. What's the one thing every Christmas Day, right? We've even done streams, right, over the Christmas week, and I think we did one Christmas night stream here. I think we did. But what's the one thing we always say we miss Christmas? Doctor Who, Christmas and Doctor Who, right? Especially in Britain, became a thing. Even people that were casual viewers were saying, in if you go into comment sections of different media, where's the Christmas specials? They never liked the New Year special. It never went down well with people, right? So RTD for me is a very clever man, right? He knows what fans want and the casual viewer want. And what better way to kick off whatever you're doing on Christmas Day, where you'll probably get record viewing figures for the first
I never
time
understood
in
why he
years.
changed it anyway.
What?
I said I've never understood why he changed it anyway. What? It's 5 days apart, 6.
Because because I think the explanation that Chip gave at the time is that he couldn't. If I'm correct in saying, and someone can get the article,
yeah.
he said he couldn't actually. He couldn't write. Christmas specials are very hard to write, he said.
But something to do with that, and then the fact that I think that he was still in the middle of Broadchurch, the last series of Broadchurch as well. So I think there was
funny, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is the thing, Marty. Is that really an excuse, though?
Well,
I mean, we had Moffat doing Bleeding Sherlock.
Yeah.
Right? We had RTD doing fucking Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood. There is no... See, even that Digital Spy, or was it Digital Spy or Screen Rant's article that I read out? Yeah, it's Screen Rant again, trying to defend them. And then he throws his team under the bus in that article. I'm sorry, there is no. He has no excuse. He had more time between seasons than Moffat and RTD had. Right? He had a lot more money too than those two showrunners put together as well. Right? He had everything at his disposal to make the best version of Doctor Who that he could, and that's what he's delivered over 5 years. It's not good enough. It's been substandard. And I'm sick of fans still to this day defending it. Right? You all know it's bad. Right? You're even starting to complain yourselves of the Legend of the Sea Devils, even the Daleks are all starting to rumble. Come out and just say it. Right? Even if you still do think Jodie Whittaker was a great doctor, that's fine, fair enough. But you know that Chris Chibnall failed her. So don't be under no illusion that this has been great. It hasn't. It's been absolutely rubbish. And he didn't give her the tools. I don't think she had the tools anyway. But as a showrunner and as a mentor, as the one that he gave the job to because he trusted her, where was the trust in her performance? Where was the help that she needed? Where was the advice that she needed from him? She got none of that. She got none of that because he's, as Robert just said there, he's lazy. He's lazy. He just wants to blame everybody else for his own failures. I'm actually surprised he hasn't blamed us. You know, that's the one thing I'm actually surprised about, that he didn't actually blame us. He's decided to throw his own team under the bus. I've never seen that like it before.
He did say that when fans criticise Series 11, he did turn around and say, "Well, it's not a democracy.
Yeah, I remember that.
You don't get to say and choose what we do. We do it our way, and if you don't like it, tough."
Yeah, but again, he talks about the last episode of that series, saying how it was substandard and it wasn't what he wanted and it was his first draft. But as I said, well, if you're showrunner, your job is to tell the people that you're working with that it's a forced draft and they've not to start filming fucking scenes until you fix the bloody thing, right? But the fact that he let them roll with it, right? Because I even reported on this, that some scenes had to be refilmed because when he seen it, they were using his first fucking draft, folks. He'd revised that after the fact, after they filmed the scenes, which meant he had to film again, which meant he was using more money. Seriously, it's
well, if that's true, it's a waste of. They talk about having little budget. You'll not have much budget if you have to refilm things. Like,
look, at the end of the day, you know, this era is over now. One more special. Lee thinks it's going to bomb. Lee, I don't really care whether it bombs or not. That's where I am now. I actually don't care about the centenary. We will cover it. I will give me a review on it. But as soon as it's over, it's done. I'm just hyper focused now.
The only thing I'm excited for the scenery is her regeneration. That's the only thing I'm excited.
That's it, and obviously there is a few classic companions coming back, which I am intrigued to see. I just hope he doesn't ruin them. But I think the Sea Devils got out kind of okay. It could have went worse for the Sea Devils. Yes, there was some stupid things in that episode, but the Sea Devils could have come out of this a lot worse than what they did. So I'm kind of thankful for that. And I'm not going to lie, right? The one thing I will give Chris Chibnall credit for, and it's the only thing, his redesigns of certain monsters and villains has been actually quite spot on. I haven't got a problem, except for the Daleks and the Cyberlords. But the Cybermen themselves and the Lone Cyberman, the Jadoon, obviously the Sea Devils, and then he did introduce a new the Dalek and Eva the Daleks. They were actually I did like them, even though they couldn't fucking shoot to save their lives. But I did like that design. So when it comes to designing certain monsters and villains, and there is photographs of monsters and villains that he never used, that he had actually got his team to design, which were pretty impressive as well. So that's the one thing I will give him. When it comes to certain redesigns of certain villains, obviously the ones that I've mentioned, like the Daleks, obviously I didn't like the Force design, but then he obviously, you know, by the end, I think he did a pretty decent job. I like the Cybermen, as I said. I did like that design. It was kind of modern with the old. I did like it. The Jadoon, I know that he added a mohawk onto them, but I thought that was a nice little touch, and I did like the Jadoon. I didn't think the Jadoon were actually bad in that episode. It was just the rest of it that was fucking nonsense. And as I said, the Legend of the Sea Devils themselves, the design was actually great. The voice, I know people have a problem with the voice. I didn't necessarily have a problem with it as much as most people, but I would have preferred him to use kind of the original voice, not the actor. Obviously, the way they talk. I didn't like their cyber swords or the lightsaber swords, and the fact that one of them jumped in the air like a fucking Superman. I didn't like that. But other than that, he didn't ruin the Sea Devils. They got out quite, but the redesign was great.
I think that was wasn't that partially down to them being shoehorned in the script. Like, you didn't really have an intention to put them in.
Yeah, he didn't have intent. Yeah, and he actually admitted that as well. So if people can't see this man for who he is finally, well then don't talk to me and defend this era anymore, because I'm not even going to listen to you, because he's aren't even worth listening to. And that's the truth. He's aren't actually worth listening to. If you can't see common sense, see the facts around you. This era has been a complete disaster, and we're even lucky that RTD has taken over this show, because if he hasn't, we'd be sitting here and Doctor Who would be off air. The centenary would be the last episode of Doctor Who for God knows how long. And so, again, this is another reason why I'm thankful that RTD is back, because there's a misconception out there that that I want Doctor Who to fail because I want it off the air, because my hatred of it is no. I've just hated this era, and this era will be looked at retrospectively. And I'm telling you now, right, a lot of those people that defended this, right, and that includes the media as well, wait and you see, right, when RTD is in full swing, right, there will be a look back, because there always is, and people will look back on that era of Doctor Who, and I'm telling you, they will pick it apart just like we did, because it's glaring. Right now, they can't accept or not willing to see all the stuff in their eyes, because obviously they put their cards down on the table, so they had to support this no matter what. When she was cast, they made a big deal out of the fact that she was the first female Doctor, and a lot of people felt loyalty to that. So right now they can't see it, but when she's gone, officially, when the last episode drops, we know she's actually gone, but when we see it on screen and she regenerates, you give it a few years' time, and people will be saying how Chibs, right? Now, they won't necessarily go after Whittaker like we did with our acting, because she was terrible, but they'll all start pointing the finger at the glaring mistakes that Chris Chibnall made, and it'll all come back on him. He hasn't heard the last of this by a long while. He'll be reminded of the failure of Doctor Who for the rest of his career, whether it's a journalist or whether it's fan, because it will be brought up, and he'll have to live with that failure. I mean, I will give him credit where credit's due. He did apologise to Pip and Jane Baker, apparently, and said he was embarrassed by that video. But by God, those words that he echoed back then.
What, recently, or was that years ago?
Years ago. But those comments, yeah. But those comments that he echoed those years ago, right, fit his era perfectly of how every fan felt about his era. He summed up his own era. He foretold the future of his own era. Now, I honestly, I'm going to say this, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on it. Series 11, for me, is where all the damage was done. Now, people will say, well, the Timeless Children did more damage. Look, technically you're right, but Series 11, and I'll tell you why Series 11 did more damage. If you look at Series 11 compared to Series 12 and 13, Series 12 and 13 would be, say, closer to what we see Doctor Who as, whereas Series 11 was something completely different, right? He changed too much, right? And that's where I believe he'd lost his audience anyway. And then on top of that, then you had the agenda pushing, which was evident for everybody to see, and the fact that he had his fourth season, his writing was just absolutely terrible. And then we did get that series finale. And I do believe he never recovered from Series 11. And he didn't. He never recovered from Series 11. Series 12, he tried to give us something more familiar. This is a man that said that he wasn't going to bring back old villains because he didn't like certain villains. But then as soon as it went all wrong, he went into panic mode. And he brought those old villains back to try and rescue. Then when he's saying it wasn't working, or what he'd written wasn't working, he comes up with the concept of the fugitive doctor. Then he shoehorns poor bleeding fucking John Barrowman into it to boost the ratings. Listen, this man from Series 11 struggled. He struggled after that. He was never going to recover. And he never did recover. He never did recover from Series 11. Series 12, he made some really, really poor decisions. And even Spyfall Part 1 started off half decent. I was actually surprised at the time. I was like, Jesus, is he actually going to give us some decent Doctor Who now? And then what does he go and do? He ruins it all in the second episode. Ruins it all in the second episode. And then, of course, after the second episode, it goes downhill after that. Just like his first season. Just like his second season 12. And season 13 followed the same trait. Started off pretty decent.
That's the thing with him, though, isn't it? He gives you sort of one average episode, and you think, oh, is it going to be all right now? And then he just smacks that away. So it gives you something and takes it away from you.
See, here's the thing. Lee says Flux was awful. I won't go that far. I think there were some good ideas in Flux. The problem, again, was the execution. Chibs, he shoots himself in the foot, right? He didn't need to have all the characters that he actually had in Flux, by the way. He could have at least got rid of 3 of them straight off the bat, right? Yeah. You didn't really need John Bishop's girlfriend in there. I don't think you needed your man that kept popping up from the fucking 1800s or whatever time period he was from. You didn't really need him. And you really didn't need Vinder either, to be quite honest with you, right? So you could have had obviously the rest of them, the 2 villains that we got that started off pretty decent, and everybody thought, oh, Jesus, actually we're getting a decent villain here. And then, of course, like we see what Chib's done. It's the same thing. He starts off half decent. I won't even say brilliant because he's not brilliant, but he'll start off half decent and think he'll give you something decent. But it goes straight down the pan by the time we get to the second episode. And that's the thing. He's just look, the Centenary, an hour and a half, it'll probably start off great, and we'll all be like first few minutes thinking, oh yeah, this actually looks decent. But watch 20 minutes in and we'll be bored. Or we'll tune out because he's done something stupid again. He just can't help himself. But he was just all wrong. He was just all wrong. And look, you better hope and pray that RTD turns this around, because as I said, I won't forgive him, but I think a lot of fans after that then will completely turn on him.
I still say that Chibnall's biggest problem, in my opinion, just from sort of thinking about the stuff he's done and all, just the episodes I've rewatched, I just think that it seems like he's had good ideas. Like it seems like he's had ideas in his head that it's very hard. I don't know much about writing, so I can't comment on the writing process and how it works. But when you have ideas in your head for something, it's very hard. Well, I find it very hard. Anyway, I don't know about anybody else, but it's very hard for you to get that idea out of your head and onto the paper exactly the way you want it. And I think that's what's happened to Chibnall. I think Chibnall had ideas in his head for this, for certainly from series 12 onwards anyway. And I just don't think that when he put them on paper, in his head, he might be thinking, that's actually not a bad idea. But when you get it on the paper and then try to work it into the story, I think the problem is that it just doesn't hold the story together. It falls apart. You don't have the story right. Everything falls apart. What your character is supposed to be doing, it falls apart. Any sense of achievement in the story falls apart, and you notice that happens. There's nothing there to glue you into the story. Whereas you look at RTD's interviews that he's done, like when it comes to all the shows, like he even talked about Doctor Who back in the day, and they asked him, I think it was after series 1 went out, and they did an interview with him, the BBC, and they asked him, how did you manage to make it so successful? And he says, because it's been in my head for years. He says, I've seen every episode. He says, I know it works. I know it doesn't work. And he
Yeah.
says, I've had these ideas in my head for years. He says, the stories have been within he says, I know, he says, before I write, he says, I know how it starts. I know how the middle, what the middle act is. I know how it ends.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, right? Okay, so I will agree with you to a certain extent that, you know, writers can have ideas and sometimes it doesn't translate well on paper. But that's the difference. RTD would know what wouldn't translate well on paper, whereas Chibnall seems to have an inability to actually, you know, have that same thought process. What he'll do is he'll just throw it down on paper anyway, you know, write a story around it, because he's literally admitted he just shoehorns things in and writes a story around these things. So shoehorn it in, try write a story around it. So basically, as people used to say, he gets a mixing bowl and basically has a lot of shit in the mixing bowl and then throws the bowl against the wall and just see where everything lands.
See what sticks.
And see what sticks. And that's exactly what he's done for his whole era. He'll see what sticks. And that just doesn't work. And it's not good enough. It doesn't work, and it's not good enough. But look, I've had me rant about him now. But all I'll say is that, you know, we wouldn't be in the position that we were in if he hadn't done his job properly. He should have, as he said himself, and Matt Streven said himself, they have a responsibility to keep this show going. They nearly destroyed it.
I still wonder to this day what would have happened if Moffat had handed over to Mark Gatiss or Toby Whithouse. What would have happened? Where would we be now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know though. Go on, Cinnamon.
I was about to say, I don't know what I always ask my question myself. Toby Whithouse. I've always loved his episodes. I never understood why they didn't give it to him. But I suppose, was he doing other stuff at the time? I'm guessing.
I don't know. He seemed like the perfect choice. I mean, I think the problem with I think what happened with the BBC. Well, Moffat says he offered him the job, but I'm sure the BBC probably had to sign off on it as well. But the problem, I think, is that Doctor Who was slowly declining, not at the rate that it's at now, but it was slowly going down towards the end of Capaldi's era. And I think what Moffat was at the stage where he wanted out. We know he wanted out. He was trying to get out apparently since Series 9. So he supposedly he'd asked everybody. He asked loads of people, and Chibnall was the last person. And you know, we heard the story. It's famous in the interview that he took Chibnall out one night. He got him drunk and told him, "You're taking over Doctor Who." That's the story. But I think what the problem was, not the problem. You can sort of see that the logic behind it too was the fact that Chibnall, Broadchurch, whatever you say about Chibnall, Broadchurch was riding high in the ratings in terms of TV.
It was.
And the thing was, it's a bit like at the minute now. For comparison, right? I'll just say for comparison now. You look at right, Chibnall's from Broadchurch, and it's the biggest show at the time, around 2015, 2016. The country was talking about it. It was massive. So you can understand why Moffat and the BBC would have wanted Chibnall, knowing that he wrote Doctor Who, and thinking, well, Christ, if he's able to do that running Broadchurch, that he's going to be able to do that with Doctor Who. That's sort of what people would think. Oh, if he can do that with Broadchurch, he can do it with Doctor Who. But as I've said before, mystery, crime, drama, and sci-fi are two different worlds. And while Chibnall can write Broadchurch, it's a different ball game trying to write for sci-fi. And the modern day equivalent of that now would be, say, Chibnall had left, Chibnall was going, and say RTD didn't take it, but somehow, the modern day equivalent of this now would be Line of Duty. That would be like what they done in 2016, getting Chibnall in to take over Doctor Who. Would be the modern day equivalent of that now would be going to Jed Mercurio that writes Line of Duty and saying, right, take over Doctor Who. And the reason why they're doing that is because look at how big Line of Duty is. 15, 16, 17 million, with the 7-day ratings. Logically, anybody looking from an outside perspective would be saying, well, Christ, if this man can pull in that big of an audience for Line of Duty, he can do the same for Doctor Who. And we say, right, all right, you take a Doctor Who and he'll take Doctor Who over. But again, it comes back to that whole sci-fi thing. Writing a crime drama like Line of Duty is one thing. Writing the story about a man in a police box that goes around time and space is a completely different thing altogether. And whilst, yes, you might be able to pull certain elements from certain shows to try and make it work, maybe it could work. Like, we don't know. We'll probably never know what Jed Mercurio's Line of Duty or Doctor Who would look like. I mean, I know if it's anything like what Line of Duty was, I'm sure it'd be good. But I think that's the problem was at the time, because and this sort of comes back to the whole Toby Whithouse point I was making at the start, because Being Human, Toby Whithouse's show had ended a couple of years ago, and they knew that Broadchurch was ending. I think the BBC and Moffat seen it as, well, Christ, he's written for Doctor Who. He's a big show at the minute that everybody's talking about. Well, Christ, if he can do the same for that show, he can do it for Doctor Who. And I genuinely think that's the reason that they went for Chibnall.
I guess it's easy in retrospect, like to say now, why did they get him at the time? But then again, I remember even at the time, I was quite surprised that they got him. I remember listening to quite a few fans actually that were judging him, because I've never watched Broadchurch, but I understand that he was very big at the time. I remember that people were banging on about it. But I always used to say, I think I was a skeptic from the start about him, because when I first, was it 2016 he was announced?
Yeah,
2017.
January 16. January 16.
I remember when he got it, and I just remember thinking, I was quite disappointed, because I remember the episodes he'd written, 42. I probably said that was one of his better works, but at the time that wasn't exactly an episode that's been looked highly upon. And then his Power of 3 and stuff, and the dinosaurs and the spaceship. So in the Doctor Who fandom, I think I think a lot of people were quite skeptic about it.
That's what I mean. He produced those episodes. Sorry, Marty. I mean, he produces those episodes, put those episodes out, and Moffat and whatever thought he was the perfect fit because he did well with a couple of other projects. But as Marty has rightly pointed out, and I've rightly pointed out on this channel, there's a difference between writing Broadchurch and Doctor Who. Doctor Who is a unique show to write for. It's also a sci-fi show. If you try to turn Doctor Who into a family drama or as we seen as the series went on, it became like a CBBS produced kind of Doctor Who thing, hybrid. It's just, look, again, it's just not. It just baffles me that they saw those episodes that he wrote. We all heard the famous story of, the episode that basically RTD had to completely rewrite. Maybe that was Chibs again doing his first draft nonsense again, and then RTD looks at us, Jesus Christ, what the hell have we got here? Right, and then ends up having to rewrite the whole script. You get one of the greatest British actresses in an episode in Michelle Collins, and then you put her in a shit story with Martha Jones and David Tennant, and that was what was it? It was 42, wasn't it? The one about the sun. Do you remember? Yeah,
Burn With Me and all that.
Yeah, Burn With Me and the whole Chibnall, as I was speaking to somebody the other day who done one of my podcasts, and he said that Chibnall had the gall to come on and complain about Doctor Who doing stuff with running up and down corridors and silly monsters. Yet 42 is exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. That was the most running up and down. That was the most of all the Doctor Who stories I think I've ever seen. That was the most running up and down corridors there ever was.
Yeah. It was just. I mean, it was a okay episode, but that was because RTD had done. RTD probably had to do a lot of stuff, But as I say, like the way I look at it, this year is over. Basically, it's over, and we're looking now at the minute at the new era and filming and all. And I'll tell you what I've just seen there in the past few minutes. They're filming scenes at the minute in Cardiff with the unit soldiers running around a spaceship. They've got a spaceship prop on set. And it looks identical to the one that Beep the Meep uses in the comics. So I think I'm going to wager a bet now myself and say it is Beep the Meep.
There you go. Oh, man. If I can get me hands, see, this is the problem. Sorry, Cinnamon. If I can get me hands on the footage, see, it's very hard because what people are doing, they're posting it up on Twitter, and you can't download videos off Twitter, right? So I have to find a way of getting the videos, unless they're throwing up on YouTube or some other platform. Then I could do it, and then I can link the person that actually put the video up, and that's what I've been doing. So I don't get, even though they have put it on a public platform, just covering all bases anyway. But I do put the links. So if I can get me hands on all those videos, I'll throw them up. But right now, it's not easy. But fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff happening. I just can't wait to see a trailer now. At this stage,
I'm honestly, I've said this before, and I don't know when. I think it'll be next month anyway. If they're still filming next month, I hope they are. I'm going over. I'm booking the flights. I can't. This is probably the last time I will ever get the opportunity to see David Tennant film this show in the full get up and the full gear. And if I don't do it now, I never will. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna book the flights and go over.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice, man. Then you could report live on your channel.
I'm all here live and just hand the phone to David Tennant and say, "Hey, speak to that man there for a second."
Okay. Hello, Mr. Tennant. We're all fans. I hope you kill it for the 60th, and then hope that he slips up. Let's something out of him. So you're not in the 60th. Thank you, Mr. Tennant, for the exclusive.
You're doing Christmas. You're doing Christmas before the 60th.
Great. Cat, look, whatever happens right now, the excitement level for me has risen just a bit. And I can't wait to see what happens. But again, the ball is firmly in Chibbs' court now. Will he release something? He has to. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I might be excited for RTD, whatever he brings. But at the end of the day, there is still one more episode, one more resolution to this whole bleeding era. And I want it to be done and over with, but I want to see stuff.
He'll drop
at least.
He'll drop the trailer either at Comic-Con in the middle of July, the end of July, with 21st, 22nd July.
If he even turns up.
Yeah.
That's if he turns up at Comic-Con, though.
Yeah. That's the earliest you'll get it. The latest I can see you get that is the episode's rumored to be out 14th, 15th of October. The latest you're going to get it is probably the third week in September. That's my bet.
Yeah.
Third week in September.
Right. Well, we're going to say something. Someone going to say something there before I finish up?
No.
Sorry, it's just me. I don't want my fish fingers to burn. Anyway.
Or your custard.
I used to love
No. Fish finger sandwiches.
I tried it.
Anyway.
It's actually good. It's very good fish.
Yeah, I have myself, but no, I'm having fish finger sandwiches. Anyway. Before we do head off, lads, as usual, if you can plug your social medias and stuff like that. So we'll start with you, Marty, from the Zero Room podcast. So if you want to tell people about what you've done so far and what you have planned,
well,
absolutely fantastic.
I have been busy the past 2 weeks recording podcasts with a number of well-known faces. One of them has already sort of been revealed early. So I've been recording podcasts and asking people about their opinions and hopes and theories and speculations, and just sort of like it's a friendly chit chat just for about an hour. Our first episode is actually going to be an hour and a half long. And then our following episodes will be around 45 to 60 minutes. But yeah, loads of different people from the fandom and stuff like that. So you can find me at MCTV_online on Twitter, and you can follow me on YouTube as well at MCTV. And stay subscribed. I just put up a video there yesterday. We've got a wee coming soon teaser for the podcast. So we aren't far away. We've got 5 podcasts recorded so far. But the invitation's open. So if anybody in the chat or even any of you lads here want to come on, shoot me an email and I will get you slotted in for a guest appearance. Like, and it's all pre-recorded, and you will get to listen to it before it goes out, just to put your state of approval on it. So yeah, that's where you can get me. So I hope that somebody would like to come on. I'd like to bring you on. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Fantastic, yeah. And there's a couple of yous in the chat that are YouTubers, so if you want to do that, get in touch with Marty, as he said, and yeah, check them out. I'll be watching myself, even though there will be people that he's speaking to that I haven't been had a great relationship with in the fandom, but it will be interesting to hear their points of view on Doctor Who itself, because it does be fascinating to listen.
It's really like, from the people I've spoken to so far, especially the one that you've mentioned, really just like on a personal level, like, it really opens your eyes and you sort of understand why they like certain parts and stuff like that. You sort of hear their point of view. It's different here. I like hearing different points of views. I don't like shutting people off. If I have my opinions on one thing and you have your opinions, I'll listen to your opinion. I mightn't agree with it, but I'll listen to you and let you say what you have to say.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should always be in the fandom. We're not always going to agree, and sometimes we will agree with each other, but we don't always agree, and that's not a bad thing. It's we're all individuals. We're supposed, we all have individual thoughts and individual minds. Nobody should be forcing you to believe one thing one way or the other. But anyway, Cinnamon, go ahead.
Yeah, you can find my Twitter, just Real B Beckett, or I have a new YouTube channel. There's no videos on it currently, but I do plan to start uploading a lot more Doctor Who themed videos or a range of different videos, actually, including all sorts of different sci-fi and typical genre. But yeah, if that's something you're interested in, then you can find that YouTube under the same name, Sedimentos Crunch.
Fantastic, and I see Chris is throwing the links in there. Don't forget, myself and Daniel did a member stream. If you haven't checked it out, I thought it was a pretty good stream. I didn't actually talk much, believe it or not. Daniel did all the talking, and he picked the topic of conversation, and it was characters that RTD introduced, and he gave us a rundown of some of his favorite characters that RTD introduced during his first era. So if you haven't become a member and you'd like to check that stream out, please do. There's a join button there. And obviously we'll have a lot more member streams coming up, so look out for them. And hopefully, as I said, next week end. Why did it take so long to say that? Anyway, next weekend we will probably be bringing back. It's looking a dead cert now at this stage. The New Who watch-alongs. We will be continuing from where we last left off, and we'll be doing the New Who watch-alongs, because we're heading into the Peter Capaldi era soon. I think we've got one more Matt Smith story to do, and then we're officially in the Peter Capaldi era. And then remember, on member streams, we will be starting very soon the RTD era, member streams there where we'll be talking all things RTD. We'll be watching episodes. We'll be talking about them in depth and all of that. So again, if you want to become a member and check those out, you can do that as well. I also stream on the Irish Geek. So we're coming to the end of Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot of stuff has happened that I'm not happy about, but now the game has kind of gone into this other game sort of thing, and I'm not liking it right now.
I watched your video. I watched your video of the stream, and as he's riding off to you know what.
Yeah,
I was that was the bit where I was just in bits with that music playing. I was in absolute bits, but I'm sort of the same as yourself. I was sort of mid on the fence with that last bit, but it does pay off. It does pay off.
It does. But we knew what was happening, and the song choice as well. And it's building up to where it's building up to, and I'm just, it's gonna happen, but still doesn't prepare. Listen, people say, you're an idiot for getting attached, but you do get attached to these characters because you play the game.
Yeah,
and fair enough. I've done streams where I've tried to put the whole game a certain amount of time, but if I was to play this normally, right, it literally take you weeks or months to complete this game, and it's never actually complete. That's the thing. There's still even loads of secret things that fans are finding even to this day. But if I was to take as long, I'd even be even more attached. But but now it's kind of gone into this other game now. And I have to see where it's going to take me. But right now, I'm still getting over the fact of what happened. So that's why I haven't streamed in the last couple of days. Where I needed to take a break. But I do stream on the channel. And thank you, everybody who has been checking them out, because the views for those streams have actually... a lot more people are watching the Red Dead Redemption streams than any of the other gaming streams that I've done. So I think I found a good game that everybody loves. So as I said, if you are over there and you do watch the gaming streams, if you have any other suggestions of any games that you'd like to see me play on the channel, let me know. And that's it for tonight, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, we did plan to bring a lot more people on, but of course, there's a lot of shy people in the chat as well. It's been happening for you. I should be used to it, but there's other people streaming as well. So obviously, we haven't seen a lot of people in that we normally see in here at the moment, but that happens as well. But hopefully, after the fact, people have listened to the stream. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel or you've just checked out the channel, please subscribe and subscribe to the other channels, the guest channels that we've had on. And we'll see you soon. So have a good one. We're coming up to the weekend. Yay! Well, it's a weekend for me all fucking week, so I don't really why I'm saying yay. But anyway, let's hope for more exciting Doctor Who stuff to come out over the weekend. Obviously, if they're filming tonight, there's going to be a lot more stuff probably leaked, or I'll probably get sent. I have different accounts sending me loads of photographs. I get the same photograph sent to me about 5 or 6 fucking times. It's funny, but it just goes to show you how on the ball everybody is, and they're willing to share that stuff with me to get it out there, which is nice. So I want to thank all of those people. You know who you are, because I wouldn't be able to do those little videos for you if people weren't sending them to me. Because to be quite honest with you, half of these accounts that have this stuff have either blocked me or don't want that to do with me. So it's very hard for me to see all of this stuff. And most of the stuff does be on YouTube as well, which is a lot easier. So, yeah. So thank you to all you guys. Really appreciate it. And everybody in the chat, thank you for tuning in again tonight. And to all my members, welcome. And thank you for supporting as well. And I think people are also trying to catch up on the later Orville episode. When is that? What day is it today? Isn't it on tonight? Is the Orville episode already dropped, or is it on tonight? Am I confused?
It's a show I need to watch. I've heard it's very good.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you have to start with season 1 because the new season started off brilliantly. So I can't wait for the second episode. But does that not drop tonight? I think that drops
It
tonight.
probably does. Probably does.
I will be watching that, and I think Strange New Worlds drops as well.
How
which
many's been watching Stranger Things?
I've just started watching Queer as Folk actually last night.
Oh,
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, that show was on Channel 4 and had a huge cult following at the time. The music, the soundtrack, they actually brought out CDs for that show, and the music. Yeah, I tell you, man, the music was just out of this world. It's got all the great.
It's full of Doctor references as well. Like he just goes home and sits there watching Pyramids of Mars on his tape.
Yeah,
it's Vince, isn't it? I think it's Vince.
He was even doing it back then. RTD. See,
it's so relatable. Like I've done that so many times. After like that's how good he is as a writer. He writes them as people, and he writes as relatable human beings. And he says this in his interviews all the time. Like just the thought of like going on a night out or going home from work and just like, and he's so closeted about it. Like I think not to give it too much away, obviously, but he sat in a pub and someone mentions it, and he sort of like says, "Oh yeah, I'm a Doctor Who fan," but he sort of says it in like an embarrassed way because it was like for a lot of us, we used to be embarrassed to publicly say something.
That's it. We were indeed. Chris says it's already dropped. I'll have a look. But we'll leave it there then anyway. Before my fish fingers actually end up burning to a crisp and they're not any use, and then Cheryl will give out to me because then I'll have to put on more fish fingers and then I'm wasting fish. So I better fucking save me fish fingers. # justice for me fish fingers. Anyway, good night, folks. Have a good one. We'll see you all soon. Ta-ta. Bye. Say bye.